Hi everyone, the Diablo 4 season is starting very soon, but before that there is still some time to kill. And I thought, why not try some other games? So today I want to present you VRising. This is a new survival vampire RPG with base building that has just launched like a few days ago, and I've tried it out on stream and we had a ton of fun. I do want to mention this is a sponsored video. I don't really do many of those on YouTube usually, but this was actually really cool. I played it with a bunch of my friends and I want to present you what it's all about. So if you're looking for a new game to try out, this is an amazing game. I've actually played it before like 2 years ago, and the game has really come a long way since then. Now it's out of early access this week. This was the big launch on 8th of May, and people have been like really devouring this game. I see a lot of my friends blasting this, like a lot of the like PoE guys, Diablo guys. Everyone is playing this game seemingly, and you will understand why, I think. When the game launched, we actually played like all night here with my friends. It was super fun trying to progress our way through the game, starting our first base. You can build your own castle and then also go and raid other people's castles. There's PvP in this game, and you can play in parties of up to 4. So that's what we did. We went on like some random PvP server, and we actually also encountered a lot of other people that were playing on the same realm, and there was a bit of skirmishers and we looted their stuff. The game has a really cool flow of progression where you level up your character as you improve your items, which is mostly done through gathering and crafting. So a lot of these objects that you see here in this game, for example, those trees, you can hit them and fell them. And there's also like rocks and minerals and gems and all these kind of things that you can gather like this here. And then you take it back to your base, try to build more of the items, build more of your gear, upgrade your stuff, and then go out and venture forth for more. What is also really cool is that you can hunt down bosses. You can see this here right now. So there are certain boss monsters that you can kind of unlock as you reach higher gear levels and become stronger. And then you can find those boss monsters, take them down, and take their abilities. So you can unlock more and more spells that they can choose from, and then have like a bit of like a build that you make with your character, which felt pretty amazing. And every one of those boss encounters is actually pretty cool. Here's one of those examples of a boss that we took down with our team. We actually did like all of the like Act 1 bosses or so. There's like, I don't know, 8 or something in like just the first act, and then it goes to higher and higher levels as you progress. And of course, being a vampire, let's not forget about drinking some good old blood. So when you defeat enemies, in particular like humanoids and even animals, you can go and drink their blood and then absorb their powers, which is also a pretty cool and interesting mechanic. You see this all at the bottom of the screen here. So this is your blood pool, and this is actually what you use to fuel your spells. And over time it also kind of slowly drains, so you're always encouraged to kind of go and find better blood. And you can find higher quality blood and different types of bloods. For example, there are like, different types of humanoid blood, like worker, fighter, these kind of things. And there's like, wolf blood or like some other animal blood, and they all give you like special passive bonuses, like you may move faster, you may attack faster, you may gather more, these kind of things. And it's actually kind of fun to hunt down the right blood type and then a high quality of it, so you get bigger buffs. Of course, playing as a vampire is not always so easy, especially when the sun comes up. So this is something to be aware of. There's actually a game mechanic here as well. So sometimes there is the sun, and you have to try to get out of it as soon as possible, else you're gonna be barbecued. So this one takes you out really fast. You see here on our server setting in particular, we actually had like very short days. So you can actually like do certain server settings, and there's like certain tweaks you can do with like the rules set. In our case, it wasn't that bad, but you still want to be very careful whenever the sun is up. And this leads me to say that one of the big strengths of VRising is definitely the immersion level. So I played this with like in-game sound and music and ambience effects, and you kind of felt you were there, you were progressing with your character. You don't even have to play it necessarily as a team. I do recommend it as a party because of the base building and the gathering and so on, but it's perfectly viable to progress at a lower pace on your own as well. In particular, when it comes to PvP though, it's going to be quite difficult to keep up as a solo player unless you're really good or really out leveling your opponents. So those levels do matter. But overall, those skirmishes felt really fun. Like we just met some guys here on the road and we were fighting them and then like taking the loot after we defeated them and these kind of things. So that was actually really cool stuff. So those random encounters are what really make this game. And this is not just PvP. If you don't like PvP, there is also like a bunch of random elites you can find, or occasionally those boss monsters that might actually be patrolling throughout those like roads in the forest or something, and you might actually accidentally run into one of them and then you're gonna take it down. Or you find like some carriage that carries some chest and you try to take that out and then take the loot from that. So there's always something going on. You always feel like you're finding something cool and new, and you always get rewarded for it, which feels pretty amazing. And personally, I also really like the combat. There's a lot of like skill shots involved. So you see this here, for example, like you have to try to aim your spells, you have to aim your swings. Everything is dynamic with like, you know, the hitboxes, and you have to try to actually like hit in the right moment and in the right angle. So that is really cool. And later on you unlock more abilities. For example, you have like some weapons, like arts, where you have like, you know, a big slam with the two-handed mace, or you have like some kind of dash attack with a dual wield axes and these kind of things. So they all have their different styles and not just the same like auto swings. And of course, I want to show you off our castle that we have managed to build. So there are certain territories that you can occupy with your team and then build your own base there. So this is me actually in the building menu right now. Currently, I'm trying to add like a stair and then add a second floor to this entire castle. But basically, you can build these walls around you, and then you have like, you know, you can make rooms. It's very simple, very straightforward system to try to, you know, just put stuff where you want it. And then you can have workbenches, furnaces, grinders. You can have stashes everywhere. Of course, your coffin. You don't want to forget that as a vampire. And it just feels very natural and fun to build your own castle because you have a lot of freedom in how you design stuff. You can even do like decorations. There's like vampire portraits you can hang on the walls and torches and these kind of things. You can actually take prisoners and throw them somewhere into a dungeon and these kind of things as well. Then you can like feed on their blood and so on. So you can kind of build your own bank at home, and lots of other really cool stuff that you can do. So this is me logged into the game right now in our castle that you just saw in those building clips. Just walking around, and you can kind of like just like chill out here as well. You can build like chairs, you can sit down and, you know, just enjoy the atmosphere and the screams of torturing your prisoners or something. You can enjoy the rats running around, or you can eat them, and all these kind of crazy things. Here's the castle heart, for example. This is a very important mechanic. So basically you occupy one of those castles for a certain amount of time, and then at some point it will kind of like fall apart if you don't feed it. So as long as you keep playing, you'll be fine. But basically those servers are like pretty permanent servers. So you kind of have this area on that server, and this server might house, I don't know, maybe 50 people. I don't know what's exactly the limit, maybe up to 100 or so. And there could be like, you know, our castle here, and there's like an enemy castle here, you see that? And here's another enemy castle. So these are other teams that are like on the same map with you on those servers, either hunting down the same monsters that you're trying to farm if you're doing like a PvE server, or you can maybe even collaborate with them. Or in PvP cases, you can actually go and attack their castles. Depending on the server settings, you can either have like a complete open PvP mode where you can actually go and take over the castle or destroy it, or you have like kind of like a protected castle area where other people cannot enter or destroy it until like a certain hour of the day. So there's like different modes basically, and it's something that suits everyone, I think. And being a part of this evolving landscape with other teams running around that you don't necessarily communicate with, but you know, you see they're there, it felt pretty cool. And not every time we encountered other players, we were necessarily fighting them. At one point, there was also a hostile team, and we took down one boss together with like 8 people, for example. So that also happened, and it's not always just like, you know, slaughtering each other or something. And as you can see, there is a lot more that this game has to offer. So we have been playing, I don't know, 5 hours or something like that. And we can probably spend another times 10 of that, at least just exploring everything once. And then there's like random dungeons and more bosses and, you know, more endgame stuff and to grind and so on. And as you go, you unlock more and more better materials and recipes and weapons. You can see here the crafting menu, for example, there's like, you know, certain items that have a higher level that I could try to craft now, or get a certain materials for, either like collect wood and then convert it to planks with my sawmill here, or collect stones and grind them to like stone bricks and stone dust, and then build more of my castle. And there's like rings and I don't know, all kinds of things you can craft here. All in all, I have to say, VRising, really fun game, especially if you like the survival genre. I had a ton of fun playing this. And again, big shout out to Stunlock Studios, the makers of this game, for sponsoring me. I gotta say, I probably never had as much fun playing a sponsored game. So thank you very much for the opportunity, and I can only recommend the game. And sponsored or not, I will definitely try to make some time for this game in the future to play it again and maybe progress more through the end game. One last note here, to celebrate the launch, they're actually running a sale of the game right now until the 22nd of May. So you see this here, there's 10% off of the price. I will have a link in the description and in the pinned comment. You can click that and go directly to the Steam page. And the game is not very expensive in the first place. It's like half of like a typical AAA title, and for that, really worth the money. I hope you enjoyed my little review and showcase of VRising here. Let me know if you have played it. What do you think? How is your impressions of the game? What have you been able to achieve, or what have you found in the game that's really cool? Other than that, hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys next time.